Another one. Okay, so some more commenting on the first part of the Awareness with Chris Evolution of the Black Man video. So I don't even think I don't even think I did an original response to the first comment that's older below. So actually I'll jump to that one just very quickly. So basically there's two comments from two separate people, I presume, on this video. And they're both the same rigmarole. And just the shorthand around here is we'll probably end up calling it is the welfare of the feminism, the WIC, the welfare of the WIC, the feminism, the welfare of the WIC, the welfare of the WIC, the feminism. So this one, actually no, I did respond. It's a Phil D. Snuts. Yeah, so actually I now recall we did talk about this directly. But okay, so this guy came back with, hey, can you maybe go isolate the time period you're talking about, those numbers, that data, maybe, so we can just stop dealing with just a bunch of, suggestions and maybe just your imagination. We could actually hone in on something. No, so that didn't really go far. But yesterday, Kenneth Wright, to your question, prior to 1960s, black men married at a higher rate than white men, divorced at a lower rate. Not to mention they were almost exclusively married to black women. And later I go, I almost caught that, almost exclusively. See, you already had to go give yourself a little bit of an out there, because people didn't see that. Actually leads to one of the first little points I can make about this. You know how part of the narrative is, because y'all all got fat and started twerking and wearing hell weaves within the past 10 years, now don't nobody want to marry you or want you. So if we go back, now we're talking about only back into the 1960s. None of that was even the case then, and they were already then they were only almost exclusively married to black women. So again, always telling themselves, and they don't even catch it in the ways, because when you come to an argument, and actually I was going to leave a link in the response to the last comment to Kenneth Wright, and just say there's a difference between good faith arguments and bad faith arguments. And I was thinking about this from this comment yesterday and thinking about responding to it, where I wanted to address that's probably one of the biggest reasons, particularly black women in these scenes, have gotten to a lot of problems. Well, it's a lot of things. And one piece of this I thought about in the good faith versus bad faith argument. You can look up the term and just the kind of history and examples surrounding it. Basically, you debate or have an argument, politely with someone, either online, in person, or in a conversation. The good faith is that both people are saying what they want to say, presenting the information they want to present, and arguing on good faith. There's no gotchas, well, if you already have your mind made up and you're just intentionally trying to lead someone around like a little labyrinth of mental gymnastics, random quotes, random links that you want to pull and just throw around and throw out. If you, particularly the black men, it's not just exclusive to black men, because I've done videos already saying that there's whites, particularly the kind of MGTOW, PWA types that overlap with some of these black male circles where they have a lot of black male commenters spouting the same thing. Well, WIC and welfare destroyed the family. 1960, it has to be a sizable percentage of black women just kicked black men out the home. Again, I think I must mention this here in the comment. How can someone kick you out of a home that you own? Let me scooch, because I think I made that point here. Well, this is the key. So this was, they were taking out the home, and the New Deal and welfare made it just so good to just kick them out the home. I don't think I referenced it here right away. But how can someone kick you out of a home that you own? If you get divorced, you go to the court, you say this isn't working, you do the paperwork, do this, do that. One party and the children, or just one party moves, has to go elsewhere. That's kind of how divorces work. More often than not, and I think it's because later on he says, we're going to get to that. I don't have the numbers. Of course you don't have the numbers, dude. You don't, because you, like most of these sort of sentient black men who aren't completely just showing up in comment sections calling people bitches and hoes and fuck you black bitches, where the white women's at, we going to Brazil. Just because you're not talking like that kind of jimble jamble and being just flagrantly just nasty about things, that doesn't mean that you're any better than any of these other people that show up. I'd almost rather at this point take the knock on wood, take the the rambling, just kind of incoherent, F you, dark skin, dark butt chick. That's almost just simpler to deal with than black men who typically show up and they just think they have something so important to say, but then at the end they're not saying much of anything. But this is a across the race problem with black people, critical thinking, how to flesh out ideas, how to move from A to B to C all the way through Z, A to B to C through Z in a coherent manner. So the first, though, I'm not going to waste time. This is the typical comment. Oh, black fathers put out the home for weekend welfare. Feminist movement made them want independence for their men. So I guess I'll leave it the last points. I think I've touched on this before, but it's well worth repeating because it's one of the other critical points I come back to. So on the feminist movement, and this is me right here, if the above statement is true that they just had to get free from y'all and Gloria Steinem and the bra burning chicks was just the spark that lit the match and started the fire. Have you and other black men asked yourselves why black women want an independence from you collectively? Women raised society want to be loved, protected, and provided for by men. Have you stopped to ask, why would a woman trade me and kick me out of a cold bed at night for approximately, I left out the for, I'll admit my own spelling, sentence, structural errors there. Trade me and kick me out for a cold bed at night. Oh no, I was right. Approximately $300 a month in welfare, some government cheese, and a kid or two to raise alone. Maybe you and the brother should ask yourselves that, answer it honestly amongst yourselves. Why, allegedly, is this feminism, government cheese, WIC welfare a better deal and replacement for you? They can never answer that, because then a lot of this whole diatribe, and this is going to lead me to the conclusion in this video. I'm going to share how I'm going to approach comments on this channel going forward, because I see why some of the better black women channels have done this really relatively well, and not letting certain people, i.e. mostly black men, comment, because then it's not them trying to call you bitch holes and thoughts. The guy was respectful. But the thing is, that's how low the bar is. Well, the typical respect I'd expect from any other particularly non-black person, that's male or female, in any type of discussion, is that you don't come waste time. You don't, what other people call spamming and trolling. It's usually just more tongue-in-cheek and jokey, and it's pretty obvious. But no trolls. People do attempt to loop you into these goofy arguments. But I just expect that as a naturally, you shouldn't be calling people bitches, hoes, and thoughts, and blah, 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 anyway. So if you show up with like some argument and a few comments like this here, you're arguing in bad faith. You already have what you think is, again, the Z for most of these black men is welfare, waking feminism, black women kicked us out the home, ... Again, like the awareness of Chris video. So it's funny how this went completely over this commenter's head, that he's living the point that I'm trying to make. You're just drawing these broad generalities and these broad points out of history, and you're trying to throw them into a blender, and it's like trying to take a pear, a piece of ham, and a cup of chocolate syrup and put it into a blender and expect to have an ice cream, a milkshake at the end. You have one of the components that comprises the total whole of what we think of a sundae, milkshake being. This is the most basic one, a chocolate milkshake, vanilla ice cream, chocolate syrup, maybe a splash of milk. So you have one of the components that does lend itself to what happened and what are some of the factors that happened, but you're isolating one thing and saying that this is the causality of how this whole situation happened, and that's not how history works, and that's not how individual human actions work or interact with each other. It's mentally taxing just thinking that this is like the type of conversation that I typically have with non-black people to begin with in full. And then, no, I'm not even going to try to separate black men and black women from this, because it's not worth it, because it's not completely true. And it's just easy to say, I don't have to have these kind of elementary conversations about, can you please go find some links or some facts or stats to come back to back your claims up? I mean, even when I get more to like the dissident alt-right types, like, sometimes like, the joke of them, the chance, it's people being so autistic that they give you like 80 million stats and they come at you with 80 different types of counterpoints to their arguments. That's another thing. Usually, even when people are arguing something that's relatively faulty or has a lot of nuance, but there's an arrived upon agreement about who shot John and what transpired, most people still want to have two or three kind of other side avenues to look at the same question or the same answer that, leaves wiggle room for nuance and for things to not be completely black and white, but to account for the gray area that happens in pretty much any situation involving humans and involving people. So then the follow-up comment is, here's my proof. Now, the first link was the Black Demographics, Household Marriage of Black America, just demographics on black people being married over a period of time. Now, then the next two are from Washington Post and HuffPo. And then that third one, ASQ.com, it's about domestic violence rates. So the first two clips from WAPO and HuffPo are just, more women initiate divorce. And then more people divorce due to reconcilable differences, and the HuffPo was a top 10 list. Okay, but that's not what I was. See, and again, if this is how elementary conversation that I'm expected to have with black people on this channel, I'd rather you just not comment because I literally don't have time for it. The specific point that we're addressing, the key, like the hypothesis of this entire discussion is black women kick black men out the home for welfare and WIC. So then that applies to conditions that have one of which have to be true in each situation. They were already not married, having illegitimate children. He was living in a home with her and said children that he did not own, was not on the mortgage, not on the lease for anything. And maybe they both paid rent. Whoever's name it was in, it could have been just tenement housing or apartment. You're not legally married. You have no legal conscription to each other. And if things got heated and she didn't want you around, or you didn't want to be around for the reasons you may not want to be around, maybe you were drunker, maybe you like to gamble too much, maybe you had another woman across town, whatever. Maybe she was seeing someone else. Maybe she was pregnant by some other guy and then she got upset with you, didn't want you around and wanted you to leave the home. There's 1,000 scenarios that can lead to two people partying. But basically under that premise, they're not legally married to each other. And it's as simple as the woman, the children stand, the guy could go stay with his buddy, stay with his mother, maybe go across town, take a job someplace else. Women with children do have the possibility of those types of free movements, but more likely than not, they're kind of, in a little bit more of a fixed living situation. Not completely, not 100% across the map, but just for the sake of having a better faith argument about that is what that would imply. Or on the flip side, because they don't want to talk about the illegitimacy that's always been there in the fatherless homes. My grandmother, his parents were married, and my great grandfather left her and her two brothers and my grandmother in the South, in Birmingham, Alabama, to run his ass up north to take up with some other black woman and get her knocked up. Like, my grandmother's been passed for like a decade, but that illegitimate side piece child is still alive. He's like in his 70s, nice guy, whatever. So definitely don't want to go there. So I even left that argument off the table because I know you don't want to go there. But then the other point that would have to be true then is there were these black women and men who were legally married. Welfare, wicked feminism were on the horizon, and it was easy street. Get rid of this black man in the home. So then you weren't collecting those benefits if you're married, because the design, which did originate from some of the New Deal provisions for taking care of the indigent, the poor, widows, etc. Some of those provisions that came in the New Deal, which was a big package, it also was targeted at fixing the stock market crash of 1929, a lot of the host of problems that have come up there, a lot of public works programs, things to remedy the mass unemployment that you saw across America, across different populations and different groups. So you get the kind of some of the early tenets, these early provisions in the New Deal would actually lead to some of the greater expansions of some of those said programs that already were in existence to some degree during that came out of the New Deal, that would then be expanded by the time we get to the LBJ Great Society in the 1960s. So yeah, that's there, and that's all there and good. So then I'm asking to talk about that particular period of time. I've thrown out about a couple of different pieces that might, that you could just have taken and ripped off of. But then you come back with 2 articles just about why women divorce, why people divorce. I'm asking you about one isolated period of time relating to black men and black women and people. This constant argument that's thrown up and out all over the place. And I'm trying to understand why you can't follow your own stream of thought. You came to my channel throwing this out here. You back it up. Like, the burden of proof is on you. This is where particularly black women on these scenes have really screwed up. We let a whole bunch of bad faith arguments from black men just go by, and because we don't want to deal with our own shit, we don't want to deal with our reckless wounds and a lot of those issues that we have here. And we've let this get into a point where they can just show up and say this. And I see, like, I've in earlier years, a couple years ago when I first was getting into these things, I used to jump in and, well, it's this and that. It's a bad faith argument. And a lot more of us, again, but this is, like I said before, this is a way of not understanding how to look at a broad picture, a broad subject of things that we as a black people, as a race of sub-Saharan African people and people descended from those. This is something that you see across the various populations of us. There's a forest for the trees, that kind of argument. Don't want to go too much on a tangent there, but that's literally what a situation like this is. Well, more people get divorced and they kick files out the home. So everybody that was kicked out of the home was a married black couple. They got divorced and she kicked him out so she can get the WIC and welfare because she has to be unmarried with children to qualify for those benefits. That's what you're saying then. So then here comes the cherry, because I was just responding to a comment like this 15-20 minutes ago. And here's the kicker. Okay, then you need to say what happened then. How does the black community go from having the highest rate of marriage and lowest rate of divorce to where we are today in just half a century? Mind you, men in general, as well as black men, don't initiate divorce. Women do. So again, what gives? Again, as I previously stated, you have to prove that everyone in the black community was married, at least about 90% of them. So where enough of them, let's say out of the 90% that were married, at least 50% of them, if not more, would have to get divorced and have a divorce initiated by said black woman to kick him out the home, to qualify for WIC, welfare, and be seduced by feminism. So when you actually approach this whole argument, this is one of the things that really drove me to this channel. I've been thinking about this probably about the past 3 to 6 months. No one can answer this in any logical way. And we constantly go back to this. So what gives? Again, my head already hurts. Let's have a sip of wine. I'm going to spend more and more time on this. But I just really wanted to come back because I told him I would comment. And also, let me get close because it's already 17 minutes. I got some veggies to cook. I want to come back with another video. And I guess I can make a little mini channel announcement too. So, this is the kicker. I mean, if the answer you're looking for, again, oh God, I just caught this. Your Y-O-U-R is your, like your computer, your car. Y-O-U apostrophe R-E is you are. It's the conjunction for saying you are. If the answer your Y-O-U apostrophe R-E looking for his names and an exact number, then I must say that you're being extremely disingenuine. That was a typo too. And I typed fast and I knew I was going to misspell it. But you know this thing called spell check, right? It just highlights it red. You just right click it and let it change itself. You don't need to go get a dictionary to do it. If the answer you're looking for is names and an exact number, then I must say that you're being extremely ingenuous, which it should be, because I can't provide the information and I don't think there is such a thing. Ding, 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 ding. I rest my case. So there you go. And again, I'll read it again, and I want you to just listen to this. I mean, if the answer you're looking for is names and an exact number, then I must say you are being extremely disingenuous because I can't provide that information. I don't think there is such a thing. So how in the ever-loving... I'm trying to watch my cursing. It's a little too early to start cursing. How in the ever-loving frick do you even get off coming to my channel and wasting time with... And I think this is why... I think, I'll be totally honest. It's a new channel, not a lot of subs. I want to like show engagement and comment back and forth with you guys. Like, right on, give a like or give a thumbs up when you show up and do stuff. No. Because with this type of especially this subject matter and the subject matter that's to come on this channel, I literally can't afford to do that. And I'm not going to do that anymore. Because once we got into the first comment back and forth, well, anybody from now on that posts with feminism welfare, I think you get a warning comment like, hey, I'll point you back to this video and tell you, look, we don't do that over here. If you want to circle jerk about that, go circle jerk someplace else about it, because this has been a dead horse that you guys have beat for so many years. And because particularly everyone that's not you, predominantly black men, but also a fair amount of white MGTOW type men who are making this argument on your behalf, have never been challenged. And because black women particularly, we feel some kind of way, we won't check our own shit. Like Kendall St. Charles, like she mentioned, her platform kind of came about from the whole discussion of black women, birth control, and us not regulating our wombs and having an honest discussion amongst the sistren about that. And so this is why, another reason this is permeated and gone so far on to the point of ridiculousness, because we want to protect ourselves and our image and our ego. And we don't want to check, even if it's not us ourselves, like myself personally. I don't have any black children. I don't have any black boyfriends or black husbands, and I won't have any of them ever. So a lot of this I feel it has less to do with me in a lived in experience this way, but I'm still a part of this story, and I still have to check myself on my shit and things that I could be doing better and contributing to the discussion, which a part of this channel is for. But I'm not going to sit here and just relitigate history with people who just openly admit they don't really know if these ever happened. But I mean, how do you explain it otherwise? And so I'll leave it on this point. I'll just have to come back. But I'll leave this really quick. You read the stories and the accounts of some of the early explorers and settlers, missionaries into the dark continent of Africa, particularly late 1800s. And it's funny, the witch doctrine they discussed, or just how people acted and couldn't really understand certain ways of being and thinking. It's and this kind of is indicative that you don't know, you just know something to be there's ghosts or Martians. You can't really explain it, but you just know. I guess that's not the best comparison for me to draw here. It's not even frustrating. It's frustrating and annoying, but it's a sense of embarrassment. Most black people just don't have anything coherent to say. They don't have anything coherent to think about. Everything is my white supremacy, or it's my Wiccan welfare and feminism. And we're sitting here in 2018 when you go over to some sites, certain groups talking about their white ethno state. People are talking about AI and what that's going to do to the world. They're talking about you have 1 billion or plus people on the continent of India. You got a couple billions of people on the subcontinent of Africa. You have countries, particularly in that continent, that are very reliant upon either UN, white donations, aid. You have all the different populist, nationalist uprisings across Europe, and the whole questions of immigration being challenged from everywhere, from Sweden to Hungary to Italy to Poland. And I'm not stuck. I'm going to use words of empowerment here. I'm not stuck, but I find myself staring at a group of people who look like me in this country, who are so stuck on the most basic bullshit arguments and dumbest things. We're trying to relitigate things that allegedly didn't happen 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. And I'm in my early 30s. So I'm wasn't even born when this happened. I doubt this commenter was either. But this is what they want to do. I had made this point in an essay. And I'm working on, I have to retweak that, because this is the thing. Black people, and this is beyond black men, this is us as a people. We treat the world, everything like our virtual barbershop, to just sit around and go around in circles. There's one thing that I find annoying about a majority of black people to a certain degree. Sometimes we just talk and talk and talk about nothing. And you'll be having a good time with them, but sometimes with other black people, when I'm in situations with them, I just feel like I've gotten better about it now that I'm older, but especially when I was a younger person, as a kid, and I knew I had to kind of participate, where I was kind of forced to be around more of them in situations I didn't really care for. Just have to keep talking about something. And that's what this is. You're trying to relitigate something that happened 60 years ago. You're not telling me what we're actually going to do to fix it or remedy the situation. I just literally think you want me and other black women, what do you want me to say? I'm going to take out a cat of nine tails and start whipping myself about the back about this, because this is all you guys want to talk about like forever and a day. Like, it's like Samuel Beckett, Waiting for Godot. Just go Google that play. Famous play from the Irish playwright Samuel Beckett. And just read the concept beyond the bio about, or the synopsis of what it's about. And that kind of explains how most subterranean black people think. They just want to sit around and just talk about something that happened 50 years ago and just sit under a tree waiting for whatever. Anyway, I'll be back. Probably with a follow-up to this tied in with some channel updates. So, toodles.